Hello everyone. I am Harsh Khattar, working as Assistant Professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering at ABES Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Welcome to the lecture series of Computer Networks. Today, we will discuss about the network structure and architecture. In last class, we discussed about the usage of network, what are the goals, what are the applications of computer network, and we have seen the components, the elements of network, what are the key elements which are required for a particular network. And then we discussed about some types of network, the categories LAN, MAN, WAN. Today, we will talk about the internet. What is the difference between internet and computer networks? Some of the candidates say yes, internet and computer network both are the same thing. So this is a myth. It is not like that. Yes, internet is a one example of computer networks which we are using. And then we will talk in detail about the network structure and its architecture. So as I said that this is a myth in some of the students about internet and computer networks. Computer network is one thing where we have independent devices, physical devices which are interacting with each other to share the resource. Yes, internet is also doing the same task. We have multiple gadgets with us. We are using the internet facility for downloading the things, sharing the information, receiving the information. But internet is a broader area. Okay, computer networks, if you are sending a file through Bluetooth from one device to another device, this is not internet. This is a part of computer networks. So here we can relate it like this, that this is a computer networks and yes, this is internet. Okay, so we can say yes, internet is a subset of computer networks. Now, what exactly internet is? So internet is basically a global network which is used for the sharing of information and the services which are getting. Okay, so yes, internet not only allows you to do the surfing, basically it follows the standardized protocol structure. We will see about the standardized structure and what are the protocols to be followed in the internet, because this is just a starting of the computer network lecture series. So right now we are just talking about the introduction part and what are the myth and what is the practical thing about the computer network. Similarly, we have one more important terminology related to the internet, that is ISP. ISP is Internet Service Provider. I am using a particular mobile SIM card of a particular company. So the basic provider is allowing me to use the internet services over the mobile, over that particular SIM card. So that vendor is basically the internet service provider which allows us to use the internet. So every protocol is on behalf of some set of rules and we are using the internet on this thing. So ISP is one thing which provides you the direct access for using the internet. In the upcoming units, we will talk in detail about the internet and ISP. Right now, I have added this part just to make sure that internet and computer networks both are different things. So might be you will see a small question in the university exam regarding what is the difference between internet and computer networks. Now, let's begin with the network structure and architecture. So very first thing is, when we are talking about the internet and computer networks, what exactly the network means? We are using multiple categories of network, but broadly we have two categories under the networks. So the architecture is defined in two major categories. One is client server architecture and another one is peer to peer. Let me show you an example of client server and peer to peer. When we talk about the client server architecture, treat this is my PC. I am using the services here and there is a big server, might be it's a Google server. On my system, on my mobile, on my laptop, I am just messaging www.google.com. What is happening in this case? I am working as one end user. I am a client who is requesting for a particular survey. Suppose what is computer networks? I want to search it on the internet. So, on the Google I am saying okay google.com and I am saying what is computer networks. So, when I am talking about this thing, so my request is going to the Google server and Google is giving the response. Okay. So, when you hit a enter key, you will see yes, there are the top 10 or top 20 results. So, what exactly is this? So, this is the response from the server side like this. So, this web page is basically a response. So, response from the server side. So, this type of architecture is known as client server architecture. Now, is it mandatory that we have only two entities, one is client and another is server? No, it is not like that. Okay. There may be multiple clients who are requesting for a resource from the server side. Take another example. Say we are talking about the IRCTC portal. At 10 a.m., at 11 a.m., at the time of reservation or Tatkal reservation, there are so many clients who are using the service by the IRCTC. So, in this case, the server of IRCTC will giving response to each and every client. Suppose 1000 people are going to reserve a particular seat in a train. So, in this case, the server is allotting all these berths or all these seats to their clients, to their passengers. So, this is another example. Suppose there is a day when the result of end semester examination is coming out. So, in this case, we all are mentioning our roll numbers on the portal of AKTU and we are seeing the result. Means there is a centralized server of AKTU from where you are seeing your result. So, that is a particular server and you are getting the response. I am mentioning a query, my roll number, and when I am pressing enter key, then my request is going to the AKTU server and from the server side I am receiving the responses. This is an example of client server architecture. I hope now it is clear. I have given 2-3 examples regarding this. Another example, the another category is basically when we are talking about the peer-to-peer architecture. Peer-to-peer architecture is something where I am interacting with the other nodes, like this is my system, this is another system. Okay. I am sending some file from my system to another system. Suppose we are working in a lab, in a computer lab, and we are sharing the informations. In my college, I am using my desktop in my cabin and there is another faculty or HOD and he has placed some software or some ERP data, suppose the marks to be finalized and going to upload on the ERP. So, there is a common folder and that particular folder is shared among all the faculty members. So, now that particular system is not a server. Even I can place a folder in my computer and I can share it with the other faculty members. So, this is again an important point. Peer-to-peer means yes, the systems are treated as a peer. Nobody is a server, nobody is a client, and everybody is a server, everybody is a client. Okay, it is not like that I am here as A and this is B. So, I can say no, A is only a client and A can send the request and B is only a server who will always respond. No, the vice versa is also possible. Like B is requesting, okay, tell me the marks of section B, and as A, I am sending the marks. So, in this case, B is requesting and A is responding. So, this is also possible. Might be there are 2-3 systems more in the same category and they can interact with each other. Suppose this PC is sending a message request to this PC and then this PC is responding to this. Similarly, we can say this system is C, this system is D and D is requesting for A for some data or some resource and A is providing the response. Now, in this case, A system is responding to a particular request of D and also requesting to C. here we can conclude the statement that a node, a computer is treated as a client in one scenario and treated as server in second scenario. But this is not a case in client server architecture. In client server architecture, the client is there only to request. AKTU is not sending, okay, tell me your result. No, because AKTU has a server and I am a student, I am writing my roll number, sending a request and getting the data. So, the server is sending me the response with respect to my roll number and I am fetching the results. So, this is all about the client server and peer-to-peer architecture. Now, if I talk about the differences about the peer-to-peer architecture and client server architecture, I hope now you are able to understand what is there in the peer-to-peer architecture, that any node can interact with anyone and each and every node is treated as client as well as server, means request and response both are possible. Let us have a look to head comparison of client server and peer-to-peer architecture. On the screen you can see, yes, the client server architecture is one where we have thin clients. Generally we call it as a thin client because they are requesting. It is assumed that the clients do not have much storage space to store the data. That is why a particular client is requesting for the data from the server end. So, that is why it is a nomenclature to mention that the clients are known as the thin clients and these are known as the large or big servers. Okay. But this is not a case in peer-to-peer. In peer-to-peer, each and every node is treated as an end user who can send the request as well as the response to the query. Another one, the basic working of client server architecture is to provide the service and store information. But when we talk about the peer-to-peer architecture, the objective is sharing of information, okay, like sharing of the marks in within a department, the faculty members are sharing, or one student has done a particular practical and he is sharing the information with the class that yes, I have created this and I am sharing with everybody. Similarly, the practical 2 is shared by somebody else, like this. So, this is peer-to-peer. Another important concept is decentralized and centralized system. In some of the books, it is mentioned that we have different categories, like one is client server and peer-to-peer, and another difference is on behalf of the working, which is known as centralized and decentralized. What exactly it means? When we talk about the client server architecture, we have seen there is a centralized server who is providing the resource. The same thing is here when we are talking about centralized architecture. Centralized means there is one unit who is providing service to all the other nodes. Okay, so these are the nodes and they are getting the response from this centralized server. So, this is also known as a centralized architecture. That is why it is in the bold that we can say this is a centralized server network. So, if due to some reason the server is unable to respond, might be server fail, what about the data? Nobody else. We have seen this type of thing. Sometimes we have seen in the early times that you are sending a roll number and there is an error and it is a general term, okay, server is busy or there is so much load on the server, that is why the server is down. So, what it means? If we are talking about a centralized server and server is unable to handle the request or might due to any reason the server is not responding, it means all the clients are sitting idle. In the banks, in some of the banks we are going and they are saying, okay, there is a issue in server, we can't process your request. What it means? If we are talking about a centralized server, there is a issue. So, everything has pros and cons. So, this is the disadvantage of the centralized and this is a working of centralized. When we are talking about the peer-to-peer, everybody is sharing the data with every node. So, in this case, if one suppose in my system everything is stored, in my friend system everything is stored, there is a faculty of automata who is getting all the information. If my system crashed due to anything, due to any reason, so other faculty will just share the information with the department and the information will preserve. So, there is no such dependency as we have seen in the centralized server, because each and every node in peer-to-peer has their own space and rights to share the information in any manner. Okay. Here the directions are only goes to and from the server. The client to client communication is not there. If it is client to client, then it will convert to the peer to peer organization. Now, coming to the next important point, that if server is there, there must be always on connectivity. Google don't know that when I am asking for anything from my phone. So, here Google needs to activate its server all the time. Okay. So, might be I am in the bus, I am traveling and I am just mentioning, okay, tell something about the route, or I am talking about the proper route if there is a traffic jam. So, I am sending the request to the Google server in this manner. So, server should be always on, and here the nodes in the peer to peer, it is up to the requirement. If you want to turn on your system and you can share the information, that is okay. So, there is no such dependency. In comparison to peer to peer, when we are talking about centralized one, it is more secure and reliable, because the security is must, security concern is important, but this is not in the peer to peer. In peer to peer, we are assuming all the systems are by default secure, and we trust on all the systems. So, that is why we are just assuming that we are relying on the particular network, but it is not so in terms of computer networks. Another one, when we talk about peer to peer, so it is not possible to deal with the hundreds or thousands of systems who are connected using a peer to peer network. So, that is why peer to peer is relevant when we have a smaller network, but client server can manage the lakhs of client at the same time. We have seen this in the AKTU, there are more than 1 lakh students who are getting their result. We have the IRCTC portal, there are so many other examples where we can relate it with the this client server architecture and peer to peer architecture. So, this is all about the basics of network architecture. Now, based on the architecture, we have defined the network. What are the key criterias if I talk about the network? So, here there are few points which we will discuss in every unit as per the topics. So, now we will just take an introduction about these criterias, that there are a few important things which need to be concerned while communicating through the computer networks. One thing is delivery. Delivery means if I am delivering something, I have sent a WhatsApp message and my friend is not receiving that particular message, means there is issue in the network. This is a common term which we are using. So, when I am sending a message, it should reach to my friend properly. So, that is a delivery. So, message delivery is a very important point. So, when we are talking about a network, it should be reliable and securely transfer of information, that is delivery. Another important point is accuracy. What it means? Accuracy says I am sending an information, so it is accurately received at the receiver end. So, error free. If I am saying hello and it is saying okay, it is just receiving HELLO, instead of this it is receiving HELL, where O is left and my friend is saying, scolding me, yes, what you are sending hell. Okay. So, this is the accurate error free information must be there. Another important point is timeliness. Timeliness means if I am sending a message, okay, I am reaching to your place in 5 minutes and message is delivering after 10 minutes, then what is the use of delivering the particular message? So, this is important point, a timely delivery of a particular message. Another important point is a technical part, which is jitter. We know that if I am approaching from my college to the AKTU center in 30 minutes and daily I know the distance is say 10 kilometers, but it took 30 minutes to reach because of the traffic jam. But this traffic jam is not fixed for daily. I am assuming the 30 minutes are sufficient, but due to rain, due to other or some other transport issue, so might be the distance is same, but the time will increase. So, when we are assuming the delay is there, okay, on the Google we can see okay 20 minutes time is there if there is no traffic. So, 10 minutes delay is there due to the traffic or traffic hours, but after that we are assuming that there is no delay. No, it is not like that. Practically, maybe due to some U-turns or maybe due to some accident or any other thing, there is a delay of 5 minutes. So, this extra delay is known as jitter, means we are talking about the no more delay should be there, on delay. If there is delay over delay, that is jitter. So, we are assuming there must be no jitter in the system. Yes, delay is acceptable. So, we will also talk about this in the coming units in detail when we are talking about a particular network structure. Another important criteria is performance, how we can measure the performance of a network. So, in this case, if I am sending a message, I typed a message at 10 a.m. and it is receiving at your end at 10:01. What it means? Means there is a transit time of 1 minute, okay, the communication time. Another one is if you are responding me, I said hello, you said hello. So, when I sent a message and receiving a response back, so that is the response time. So, these are the times I am discussing about the basic terminologies, because in the upcoming topics I am going to use these terminologies. So, it should be clear to all of you about the terminologies. So, this is a transit time, this is response time. What exactly is throughput? Throughput is something, a particular information is reaching at your place. So, what is the particular, means we can say this is a unit of message transfer, that how many messages you are receiving at a particular unit of time. So, here we can say yes, I have sent the 10 messages and you are receiving only 9 in a particular amount of time. So, here the throughput depends on the particular rate of successful message deliveries. Okay. So, this is an important thing which is required in this. So, throughput is a common term which we have seen in other topics as well, but in networks it means the successful message delivery. And then the delay, yes, we are assuming the message which I am sending to you. Suppose I have sent click, okay, click is there, so it is reaching at your place. No, it is not like that. Okay. So, when we are sending a message, there is some communication delay, there is some processing delay. So, all these things comes under the delay, which is also known as latency. So, this is all about the network performance. Let us have a look to the another architecture which we can say, yes, right now we have discussed about the client server thing, peer to peer, what are the terminologies which are included in this and how you can use these terminologies. So, difference among all. Next important point is how the network structure is defined. So, this is defined on behalf of some principles, services, protocols and standards. These are very important thing, and this is not a thing which we can discuss in one lecture. So, throughout the subject we are only discussing about these type of services, protocols, standards which we are using at a particular place or particular layer in the computer networks. So, basically the layering principles and these services are the step by step process for the successful transmission of the data, and the standards and protocols are the set of rules which need to be followed. Like on the road we are following, okay, we are talking about the left hand driving. If you want to overtake, come from the right side. So, these are the rules. And what are the principles and the services? Yes, this we are talking about the red light. So, this is a rule that you are saying, okay, this is not for you right now, it is a red light, or this is a green light to move, or there is a zebra crossing. So, hands on when we are talking about the practical sessions, then we work on the principles, services, protocols and standard. These are very important thing about the network structure, and we can define the network structure in the manner where we can say, yes, network structure is defined as the physical organization of the devices, means how they are interconnected and how they are logically designed and follow the principles for the data transmission. Here we have included multiple things. So, we will discuss these things in coming lecture, which are the topology, the physical organization of devices, computing, what is a logical design and how we can see the working structure, and the medium, either I am talking about the wireless transmission or wired transmission. We have seen right now we are using the wireless communication much more than the wired communication. So, we will see in the coming lectures about these things. So, these are the detailed topics. If I talk about what we have studied yet in this class, so we can talk about, yes, the network structure is something which is described in such a method which is particularly organized one, which takes all the network element network criterias, like yes, the throughput should be maximum, delay should be minimum, jitter should be minimum, like this. So, it is up to you how you can related with the real life examples. I have given already so many examples related to all the topics. So, this is the summary slide, and just brainstorm yourself that what are the performance parameters if I talk about the computer networks. So, these you can also treat as important questions and the outcome of this lecture. So, here what exactly the networking structure is, how you can say that the architecture of computer networks is defined, what is the difference between the peer to peer and the client server architecture, and what are the basic differences among this, what are the applications which we are using in the computer networks in the current scenario which are based on the peer to peer, and what are the based on the client server architecture. And I have taken one question from this, that what is the difference between transit time and the response time. Now, there is a open ended question for you for your self assessment purpose. If I would suggest you are making your own network, what are the performance parameters which you prefer, and you can say yes, these parameters should be in the maximum value and the minimum value, like what you prefer, the throughput should be minimum or maximum, the delay should be minimum or maximum. So, this is open ended question which I want you to just explore the things after this class. So, I hope all the topics are firmly covered and you got all these examples. Okay. So, in next class we will discuss in detail about the OSI model, which is a standard model, standard layered architecture which is followed when we are talking about the communication. Okay. So, this is about the next class. Thank you.